Let's be honest. For most of us, the word meeting doesn't exactly spark joy. But what if we could change that? What if meetings could actually be places where great ideas are born and teams truly connect? Well, that's what great facilitation is all about. And today, we're going to dig into how you can master this incredible skill. You know the feeling, right? You're sitting there, watching the clock tick, while the same two people have a conversation that just goes around and around in circles. It is, I think we can all agree, one of the most frustrating experiences in the professional world. But there is a way out, and that's exactly what we're going to explore.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll get into the why, what a facilitator is really there to do. Then we'll cover the prep work, which is absolutely crucial. After that, we'll talk about managing the meeting in the moment. And finally, how to make sure all that good work actually sticks.
All right, so let's jump in. What is a facilitator, really? It's so much more than just being the person who runs the meeting. You're the guide. You're the one who sees the group getting lost in the woods and knows the path to get them to a clear destination. You're not just a participant. You are the solution to bad meetings.
I want you to pay close attention to that word, art. This isn't just about following a checklist. Facilitation is the art of sensing what a group needs. It's about creating an environment where people feel they can actually think together and get to a place they could never have reached on their own.
Your job as a facilitator really comes down to these three core duties. First, you bring clarity. You make sure everyone in that room knows exactly why they are there and what a successful outcome looks like. Second, you create safety. You build a space where people aren't afraid to share a half-baked idea or disagree respectfully. And third, when conflict happens, and it will, you don't run from it. You steer it into a constructive conversation that leads to progress.
Now, a fantastic, high-energy, productive session doesn't just happen by magic. No way. The success of that meeting is pretty much sealed, for better or worse, long before anybody even walks through the door. This is all about the power of preparation. So, what does that prep look like? Just think of it as a simple pre-flight checklist. First, you've got to know your stuff. Understand the topic, the goals, the history. Second, you build a rock-solid agenda, and I mean a detailed one, with time for each item. This is your roadmap. And third, you pick your tools. Whether it's a simple whiteboard and markers or a fancy digital tool, have everything ready to go so you're not fumbling around later. This quote from KSL Training really just says it all, doesn't it? Planning is essential. If you go in without a plan, you're not really facilitating, you're just winging it and hoping for the best. And hope is not a strategy. Preparation is everything.
Okay, the moment has arrived. The meeting is live. This is showtime. And now, your role shifts. You become the director of a play. You aren't the star. Your job is to make sure every actor gets their cue, that the quiet ones have their moment to shine, and that the story moves forward. Just look at this. On the left, we've got what happens in most meetings, right? A couple of dominant voices take up all the airtime. But on the right, that's our goal. That's a well-moderated discussion where everyone has a genuine opportunity to contribute. Your job is to actively manage this. It means politely interrupting the person who's been talking for 5 minutes straight and saying, "Thanks, Sarah. Now I'd love to hear from someone who hasn't spoken yet." It's how you get to the best ideas.
So, how do you stop people from mentally checking out and scrolling through their phones? You have to keep them engaged. You mix it up. Use breakout sessions to give introverts a smaller, safer group to talk in. Use quick polls to get an instant read of the room. The key is to introduce variety and different ways for people to participate so the energy never drops.
And while all of this is happening, two things are the absolute bedrock of what you're doing. First, communicating with total clarity. And second, writing things down. Every key decision, every action item, every important agreement gets documented where everyone can see it. This isn't just note-taking, it's creating a shared brain for the group, and it's what prevents confusion later.
So the meeting ends, people say their goodbyes. But your work, it's not quite over. The last part of your job is making sure that all the energy and all the great ideas you just generated actually turn into something real. This is the part that ensures a lasting impact. So, what do you do after the session wraps? Two simple things. First, you follow up. Remember those action items you documented? You make sure people are actually doing them. A quick email, a check-in, it keeps the momentum going. And second, you ask for feedback on your facilitation. What could I have done better? This isn't about ego, it's about growth. It's how you get better for next time.
And that really brings us to the core idea here. Facilitation is not some certificate you earn and then you're done. It's a practice. It's a dynamic art that demands you pay attention, that you reflect on what worked and what didn't, and that you're always learning.
When you think about it, becoming a great facilitator is really about unlocking the potential that's already sitting in the room. The brilliant solutions, the amazing insights, they're there, waiting. Your team's best work is just waiting to be discovered. The only real question is, are you ready to be the one to help them find it?